It all started on a quiet Sunday morning. We were finally enjoying some peace after moving into what was supposed to be a calm neighborhood. Everything seemed fine until our neighbor Karen started acting strange. From the day we arrived, she had an opinion about everything. How we parked, where our trash cans sat. And now, believe it or not, Wi-Fi. My 14-year-old son, Ethan, is a smart kid. He's been into tech since he could hold a tablet. Last week, after noticing our Wi-Fi had been unusually slow and a few unknown devices were connected, he decided to change the password. Nothing major, just a routine change for security. But the reaction we got? Nothing short of bizarre. A few hours later, Karen stormed across the lawn, red in the face, accusing us of disconnecting her TV and blocking her access. At first, we were confused. How would our private Wi-Fi have anything to do with her? That's when Ethan quietly pointed out that she might have been piggybacking on our network this whole time. Things escalated fast. Karen yelled that she had important streaming to do and threatened to call the HOA. But what she didn't expect was Ethan calmly pulling out his laptop and showing us a log of who had been connecting. That's when things took a sharp turn, because what he found wasn't just Karen's devices. There was something else, something that didn't make sense. It's a name and location in the logs that left everyone stunned, including Karen. She froze. Her voice dropped. For the first time since we moved in, she didn't have a single thing to say. And just when we thought the drama was over, Ethan clicked one more tab and that's when everything changed. What he found next. Let's just say Karen had a lot more to worry about than a changed Wi-Fi password. Ethan stared at the screen, his fingers frozen over the keyboard. He leaned in closer, squinting at a strange string of characters. "Dad," he said quietly, "this device isn't hers." I looked over his shoulder. Among the list of familiar names, our phones, tablets, the smart TV, there was one odd device labeled Admin Console. Guest Node 92. Not something we'd ever connected. Not even something we recognized. Karen shifted awkwardly in our doorway. Arms crossed, still trying to look angry, but her face was pale now. "You kids in your tech games," she muttered. "You're making it up." Ethan didn't respond. He clicked on the device info and pulled up its connection history. The logs showed it had been tapping into our network on and off for the past 2 weeks, mostly during the late-night hours. The weirdest part, the IP traces showed brief connections to some sort of external control panel, something that looked like a remote surveillance setup. I didn't understand all the tech lingo, but Ethan did. His face said it all. This wasn't someone trying to stream movies for free. "Karen," I asked, trying to stay calm, "do you know what this device is?" She didn't answer. She just stared at the screen, then back at Ethan. Her hands started to tremble a bit, and she mumbled something about just wanting better signal. But it wasn't just about signal. That mystery device had administrator access. Ethan explained it meant whoever was using it could potentially monitor activity. Cameras, maybe even emails if things weren't secure. That's when I realized this wasn't just some nosy neighbor trying to freeload. There was something deeper, something she wasn't telling us. Karen took a step back, her eyes darting down the street like she was expecting someone, maybe hiding from someone. And right then, a car slowly rolled to a stop in front of our house. The car outside idled for a few seconds before the engine cut off. It wasn't anyone we recognized. A black sedan, windows tinted dark, sat still like it was watching us. Karen's eyes flicked toward it, and for a split second, the fear on her face wasn't just about getting caught, looked like she was genuinely scared. She backed away from our porch, muttering something about needing to check on her cat. Then practically jogged across the lawn to her house without looking back. Ethan and I exchanged glances. He turned his laptop toward me and whispered, "Dad, This isn't just her freeloading on Wi-Fi. Whoever set up that admin console, they knew what they were doing. Look at this. He showed a log of connection times. They were all late, mostly between 2 and 4 a.m., and every time, the same external IP popped up. Ethan traced it to an unlisted server node in another state. It was nothing someone like Karen could set up on her own, not without help, as we stood. They're trying to make sense of it. The car door finally opened. A man stepped out, dressed in a dark button-up and sunglasses, even though the sun was barely out. He didn't approach, just stood next to the car, looking directly at our house. No smile, no nod, just this quiet intensity. Then he turned, walked to Karen's door, and knocked. No answer. He knocked again, harder this time. That's when a second subplot started unraveling. Ethan's little sister, Lily, who had been upstairs, came rushing down holding her tablet. "Look," she said. The backyard camera glitched, then came back on with this guy in the corner. She flipped the screen toward us. It was a blurry still, but unmistakably the same man. From last night, it meant whoever he was, he'd been on our property before, possibly even inside the Wi-Fi range, accessing that strange admin device Ethan uncovered. Karen wasn't just stealing internet, she was either part of something bigger or caught in the middle of it. And she wasn't talking. The man disappeared into her house after the third knock, the door never opening. Ethan whispered, "Dad, what if Karen didn't run the system, but she was the bait?" And as I stared at the live camera feed, another ping came through. That hidden device. It was online again. The moment that hidden device lit up again, Ethan's fingers flew across the keyboard. It's active. It just reconnected, same ID, but from a slightly different IP. That means someone's inside Karen's house, right? Now, and they're using it? I stared at the screen, heart pounding, trying to understand what we were getting pulled into. In the camera feed from our front porch, the black sedan was still parked. The man hadn't come back out. And Karen? Her blinds were drawn, and the lights inside flicked off. It felt like something was happening behind those walls, something we weren't supposed to see. Ethan tapped another window open. "I'm locking down our network, but I want to trace the connection first. If I lose it, we might not get another shot." His voice was steady, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. His hands were shaking slightly. Meanwhile, Lily stood frozen near the hallway, hugging her tablet tight. "Dad, he was watching me last night, wasn't he?" she whispered. I didn't know what to say. I just gently nodded and told her to stay near me. That's when Ethan caught something. He isolated a data packet coming from the device and broke it down. "Dad, it's a stream. Live?" He clicked through, and suddenly a dark video feed popped up. It was grainy, almost too pixelated to make out, but then the image adjusted. It was our living room. From the angle of our ceiling vent, we all stared at the screen in silence. None of us had installed a camera there. "How long has this been running?" I asked. Ethan didn't answer at first. Then he pulled the feed logs. The stream had been running for 5 days. It's always during the early morning hours. Karen's Wi-Fi piggybacking was just a cover. Someone had been using our home's network to transmit surveillance footage of us. Right then, the camera feed blinked once, then twice. Then it cut out completely. Ethan's laptop started receiving system alerts. Someone was actively trying to wipe the traces. "They're deleting the logs," he said. "They know we're watching." Then came the knock, not on the door, from inside the house, and that's when we realized we might not be alone anymore. I could feel my heart pounding so loud I was sure the whole house could hear it. Ethan locked his laptop and whispered, "We need to check the basement, now." Lily clung to my arm, eyes wide but trusting. I grabbed a flashlight and slowly pushed open the basement door. the hinges creaking like they hadn't been moved in years. The basement was dark, musty, and colder than the rest of the house. The beam from the flashlight landed on a small, strange device tucked behind some boxes, one I hadn't noticed before. Wire snaked from it to the wall outlet, and on top sat a tiny camera pointed directly at the living room stairs. The realization hit me. Someone had been spying on us inside our own home the whole time. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from behind the furnace. Ethan and I exchanged a glance, then moved cautiously toward the sound. A figure stepped out, a man in his early 40s, hands raised but eyes wary. "Wait, I'm not here to hurt anyone," he said quickly. He introduced himself as Mark, the realtor's assistant. He confessed that the original realtor had been involved in shady dealings, using homes like ours to run surveillance for a private security firm without our knowledge. When Mark found out, he tried to shut it down but was chased off. Karen. She was just as blindsided, caught in the middle of it all, which explained her panicked behavior. With Mark's help, Ethan and I managed to disable all the hidden devices and secure the network. The man in the black sedan, he was hired to monitor the operation and intimidate anyone who got close. It was a relief to know the threat was real, but now under control. Just when we thought the nightmare was over, Ethan's phone buzzed. A new message popped up from an unknown number. "You found 1. There's more." Then, a chilling photo of another comrade, this one pointing directly at our backyard. The story wasn't finished yet. That final message hit me harder than I expected. We had just unraveled a complicated web of secrets, but clearly, the problem wasn't completely solved. Ethan and I sat down together, reviewing every detail, every device, every connection. We realized how vulnerable our home had been, how someone had used technology against us in ways we never imagined. But at least now, we knew what to watch for. Mark promised to help us report everything to the proper authorities, he admitted. The whole situation had spun way out of control. What started as a private security operation had turned into something invasive and illegal. Karen, it turned out, had been just as trapped by the situation, which explained her odd behavior and fear. It wasn't about stealing Wi-Fi or petty neighbor disputes. It was about something bigger. A reminder that sometimes appearances can be deceiving. We decided to upgrade our home security system, added layers of protection to our Wi-Fi, and taught Lily about online safety and privacy in simple ways she could understand. Ethan even set up alerts for any new devices connecting to the network. Technology that had once felt like a convenience suddenly became our first line of defense. Looking back, the whole experience showed me how important it is to be aware of your surroundings both online and offline, and to trust your instincts when something feels off. We moved into that quiet neighborhood hoping for peace, and even though the first few weeks were filled with chaos and uncertainty, we came out stronger and smarter. Karen never came back to confront us after that day, and the mysterious black sedan disappeared too. The tension finally lifted, but we remain cautious, knowing how easily privacy can be breached. And while the story ended for now, it's a clear reminder. In today's world, staying safe means staying informed. If you've ever had a strange neighbor or felt uneasy about your home network, this story is a warning and a call to take control before it's too late.